American English, American English. Teach and learn American English.
In this teaching tip topic, Heather will examine 3 multi-skill language activities that support critical thinking skills development. Welcome, Heather.
Hi teachers, I'm Heather, and today I am going to talk about building critical thinking skills such as analysis, evaluation, and reflection for the English language classroom. Let's begin. Today we'll explore 3 language activities that support critical thinking for different age groups and learner levels. These activities will address 3 types of analysis: visual, audio, and textual. Some of you may have done activities that ask advanced learners to explore and analyze complex images. But let's look at how teachers can use this type of exercise with very young, pre-literate, or beginning level learners. With the teacher's support, these students can use their critical thinking and language skills to give examples, provide evidence, and make predictions. So let's pretend we have this image from a book for young learners. It might be accompanied by a basic declarative sentence like this one: Matthew likes to ice skate in the winter. While reading the text aloud and showing the picture to students would be perfectly acceptable input, by asking a few questions before you expose students to the text, you can activate their critical thinking skills, even at these lower levels. For instance, you can show the image and begin with a question such as, is it hot or cold in this picture? Then, after students answer, follow up with questions that ask students to provide evidence for their responses, such as, well, what do you see? Or, how do you know it's cold? Students can then use simple language to point out features in the image like, I see snow, or the boy has a hat and gloves, or no leaves on the trees. Then teachers can ask students prediction questions such as, what will the boy do next? Followed by more questions that seek supporting information. While these question and response situations might seem simple, they do allow beginners or young learners to build the critical thinking habit of providing support for their answers. Next, let's look at how students can use a graphic organizer called a KWL chart to activate prior knowledge, make predictions, and identify key information from a listening text. As you'll see, this activity is suited for older primary students and above. Students will use the chart both before and after they interact with a listening text. So here is an example KWL chart, which might be familiar to some of you. The chart gets its name from the information students will enter. In the K column, before listening, students use prior knowledge to write down what they think they already know, K, about the topic after this teacher supplies the text title or general theme. Also before listening, in the center W column, students use prediction and analysis skills to write down what they want to know as a result of listening to the text. Finally, after listening, students complete the L column on the right that asks them to reflect on what they learned from the text. They can then compare and analyze the columns of information to conclude the activity. And finally, let's look at a critical thinking language analysis activity about identifying facts and opinions in written texts. You can use this activity with a variety of content topics, and you can adapt the difficulty level by selecting more or less complex written texts. The ability to differentiate factual statements from opinion-based statements is a key aspect of information literacy. This skill helps our students become more critical, thoughtful readers and listeners. For example, perhaps your class is working on a unit about travel or vacations. You can have students analyze a level-appropriate travel brochure, such as this one I made about Anchorage, Alaska. Ask students to read the text and underline all of the statements that are opinions rather than verifiable factual statements. Students will read, analyze, and mark the texts. They can do this on their own and then discuss their selections with their partner. So the students' marked text might look like this. The opinion statements are underlined. The best food, everyone will love its cultural activities, it has the most beautiful parks and trails, etc. Next, take the analysis a little deeper and ask students to identify words in the sentences that made them mark the statements as opinions. So students will circle the key words, again working individually or in pairs, and their text might then look like this. Now you can lead students through a discussion about these clue words to help them form mental rules or patterns they can apply as they read or write other texts. A follow-up activity might be for students to create their own travel brochures in groups applying these ideas. Summing up, today we examined how teachers can use 3 activities to develop students' critical thinking skills. These activities can all be adapted to suit many content types and learner groups. I hope you found these tips useful. Thank you for joining me, and thanks for all that you do to support your English language learners.
To check out other great teaching tip videos, be sure to subscribe to our American English YouTube channel. You can find resources for teachers on the American English website, and if you haven't already, be sure to like us on the American English for Educators Facebook page.